Hello everyone, in this video tutorial we're going to discuss athletic scholarships, and I'm going to stay at a really high level because I want you to understand how they work, but I don't want to get too far into the minutia that it starts getting confusing all over again, because I really want it to be clear for you guys. We're going to talk about a few aspects of it. One, I'm going to discuss the governing bodies. We'll talk about those. We'll talk about head count and equivalency sports, and we'll talk about how your GPA fits in there. We'll talk about some of the reasons that kids that are better athletes don't get the athletic scholarship offer, and what's probably going on behind the scenes. And we'll talk later on, mostly in the proactive parent side, about strategies to get yourself that offer over someone else that normally would have gotten that offer. So first, let's talk about the governing bodies and how they came about. So back in the good old days, in the early 1900s or back then, the colleges first started really kind of competing against each other. They did, some football, and rowing was really big back then. And one of the big problems they were having were the schools, there were no rules, so the schools would always bring in a couple of ringers, kids that didn't attend the school, kids that they enrolled only for one or two classes, professional level athletes they would bring in. There were no rules, so you were just trying to win. And so in order to stop the cheating, the colleges got together and said, that's enough. We're educational. Academics is supposed to be important. Why are we doing this? They created these governing bodies, and the Ncaa, the Naia, and some of the others grew out of this. So let's talk about the different ones. Now, I just mentioned the Ncaa, which is the one most people know. There are three divisions in the Ncaa, which is the National College Athletic Association. There's Division I, Division II, and Division III. The big important thing there is to realize that is the biggest umbrella. They have the most schools. Ncaa Division III does not offer athletic scholarships, so that's a big thing. But they do offer money, so never ever disregard them when you're looking at the schools. Ncaa Division I is very important, and we'll talk about why in a moment. The Naia is the next one that people know quite a bit. It's the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. And they have two divisions, Division I and Division II. And the National Junior College Athletic Association, a lot of people overlook this, but they do give scholarships. Now, they don't do that in California, but everywhere else, there's great athletic scholarship opportunities there. And people, for some reason, disregard that. But you know what? If they're going to pay for room and board and books and tuition, all of that stuff, why would you not take advantage of that? And sometimes, especially for a lot of people that are seniors that didn't get everything else lined up, you kind of run into trouble, and you don't get offered a scholarship at the other schools, and they feel like it's a letdown, but it really isn't. You go to junior college, and then you can leave after 1 year. You get yourself together, and it's also a do-over. If you didn't get the academics right in high school, you didn't take the right classes, your GPA, your SAT, ACT scores weren't on par, go to junior college for a year. Maybe you have to go for 2 years, and you get a reset. They don't look at that when you're coming out of junior college into the four-year school. So I kind of wanted to throw that out, but I wanted to get back to these governing bodies and how they relate to scholarships. So if you guys are looking at the screen, I'm sure you guys have been staring at the screen and looking at these numbers. I'm on the women's side right now. I want to talk about head count sports versus equivalency. So head count sports, let me give you what they are right now. They are football and basketball for men. For men, there are only two. For women, it's basketball, it's volleyball, it's gymnastics, and there's tennis. Those are the four for women. Those are sports. A head count sport basically means that every position on that roster counts against what the Ncaa or the Naia or the Njcaa, whoever the governing body is, says is the number of players that can be offered athletic scholarships. Now, they can have more players on the team if they want to, but that number is going to match up. So in this case, let's look at Ncaa Division I, this head count sport for Ncaa Division I. They said you can have 15 players get athletic scholarships. Now, here's what's really important. Those head count sports are only in Ncaa Division I. They are in no other division of the Ncaa, and they are in none of the other governing bodies. So the Naia doesn't even offer head count. The Njcaa doesn't even offer head count sports. And the Ncaa, if you think about it, because Division III doesn't even offer athletic scholarships at all, there's really only Division I and Division II, and Division II does not offer head count sports. So if you want to be a head count athlete, you need to play Ncaa Division I. And only those sports that I mentioned before, for men, football, basketball; for women, basketball, volleyball, gymnastics, and tennis. Those are the only sports that if you make that team and you are offered an athletic scholarship for that team, you will get a full ride. That's tuition, books, food, room and board, the stuff that you need to attend the school. Okay? So those rules kind of change a little bit, but for the most part, whatever you would need to attend that school, they'll take care of for you. So that's what we want to talk about at a very, very high level. And we'll talk in the proactive portion about strategies and different things you may ask for as part of that package. But understand that if you don't understand anything else, when someone says they have a full ride, they probably participate in one of those sports that I just talked about at the NCAA Division I level. Now, what's the alternative? What else is there if there's not head count and full rides? There's equivalency. Every other sport in NCAA Division I, Division II, and Division III, well, NCAA Division III doesn't offer athletic scholarships, so scratch that. But NAIA and NJCAA, they are equivalency sports. Okay, so those governing bodies that said these are the sports that we are going to allow you to offer athletic scholarships for, but you only get a set number of scholarships for each of these sports, and you have to find a way to split your scholarships amongst all of the players you want on your team. So this is a great opportunity to take a look, and we'll do a really simple one here. So you have bowling here. Now I have no idea how many players there are in bowling, how many participants there are on a bowling team for a college. But one thing we do know is that at the NCAA Division I, you have 5 scholarships. And I don't care if you have 10 players on there, you better figure a way to split those scholarships up so that, because they have to split those 5 scholarships up. And remember, that's the cost of tuition, room and board, meals for each particular institution. So that dollar amount will change, but the number of scholarships matching that does not change. So that means every school has 5 of these to work with. If you're at NCAA Division I, Division II, NAIA doesn't even offer, will allow athletic scholarship money from the school for bowling, and then NJCAA will let you allow 8. So it's really important to understand that if the number of players that need to participate in these sports will make a huge difference on how much of an athletic scholarship you can get. So let's just think you're a coach for a minute, and you've got 5 scholarships to use, and you're trying to field your bowling team. And I have no idea how many people play bowling, but let's just say there's 8. And you want to have a really competitive team. So you have 8 players, you have 5 scholarships to split amongst those 8 players, but you're going to have a couple of really good players on your team, or really good bowlers. And so you may have to offer up 2 full rides to get those kids onto your team. So that's how you stay competitive. And so you got to fill the rest of, so let's say you gave 2 of these away. Now you have 3 full rides available, and you have 6 more players you have to get on that roster. So what are you looking for? This is where our GPA is really important, which is your grade point average in high school. 3.5 is the magic number. There's no other way around it. If you have a 3.5 GPA and you are playing an equivalency sport, you are gold for that coach, because what that coach can now do is say, hey, look, we're going to give you a little bit of athletic money, and we're going to finish the rest of it up with academic money, right? Because at 3.5 and above, they can get you academic money, and they'll just run down to the admissions office and they say, this is a kid, they have a 3.5 GPA, I want them on my team, you guys do something, fix this, and they'll get to work on it. They'll put a package together for you. And so that 3.5, and remember I told you earlier, some kid may be a better bowler, but if they're under the 3.5 and they play an equivalency sport, they may lose out to that kid that's not quite as good, but it's close enough to where for that coach, it makes up the team. They've got their couple of ringers that they were able to offer full rides to, and then they'll fill in the rest. So, and then the higher above a 3.5 you are, the better they can fix you up academically, where they can get to the point where they can give you a full academic and not use up any of their athletic money. And now let's say you have 2 kids that are full ride academic that want to be on the bowling team. You get them on the bowling team, you take care of them, and now you have those other positions available. You can give more of your other kids full ride athletic scholarship or full athletic scholarships, and now you have an even stronger team because you're more attractive to the better player because they want a full ride, right? And maybe they don't have a 3.5 or above. Maybe they have the minimum to get in, which right now is a 2.3, which is going up really quickly to a 2.5. So I guess what I'm saying is the better your GPA is, the better off you are. If you're in a head count sport, it's not as important. You just have to qualify to get into that school. Now, of course, they want better academic kids so that they can stay in school and they don't have to, spend so much time on their academic babysitting. But if they really want you, you play a head count sport, Ncaa Division I, and they really want you, and you qualify to go to that school, they'll get you in. Okay, so I just wanted to go over that. It's important to understand how it all works. So don't worry if you're playing equivalency sport. Don't worry if you don't have a 3.5 GPA right now. Well, you want to have it there. There are other mitigating factors, and we're going to help you get to where you need to get to. But I just want you guys to understand how it all worked. I hope that made sense for you guys. I know I'm sitting on the women's page right now. I'm going to go up and show you the men's page really quickly so you guys get a feel for the numbers there. Okay, so you guys can take a look at the men's numbers, and sometimes people question these fractions, like for men's baseball, 11.7 scholarship. What does that even mean? Well, that basically means the dollar amount. Say the school's $40,000 to go to, or let's say it's $10,000 to go to. So you have 11 scholarships, the equivalent of 10,000, and then you have one that's equivalent to about 7,000. So you have all of that to play around with, basically. And they put these fractions in for various reasons because of the number of players needed for the team. So for baseball, really, you're going to keep it between 22, maybe 25 players, right? If you stayed right at 22, you could offer all your kids half of a scholarship, right? So, but most people need a few more than 22. You need special positions, special situations. So they give them a little bit more leeway. So, it's really interesting how these numbers come about, and I'm not even sure where they come from. You can read about it a little bit more on the internet somewhere, but 11.7 for baseball. For Ncaa Division II, they give you 9 scholarships to work with. 12 for the NAIA, and look at this, 24 for the National Junior College Athletic Association. And I think this number, because they are also competing against going straight pro for baseball. I really believe that's why that number is so high. You don't see that very often anywhere else in any other situation. So the biggest one by far for athletic scholarships is Ncaa Division I football, the FBS, 85 positions. And this is another thing to understand. That's why there were a lot, if you were looking at the women's side, they have to make up on the women's side because of Title IX. And that's something we'll talk about a little bit later too. Because of Title IX, they have to find a way to have the same number of scholarships available for women as they do for men. And and football is the one that kind of skews the numbers. It's so huge. Every one of these kids, this is a head count sport for Ncaa Division I. So that means 85 of these players are getting full rides. How do you make up for that with all the other sports and trying to stay equal? It's a big headache, but it's the way it is. And the reason that is because Ncaa Division I football and basketball make all the money to make all these other sports, give the money to the other sports. Most of these sports lose money year after year after year. These two, basketball and football, make the money for a lot of the schools. So anyway, that's it. I don't want to get any further into this. You guys should have an understanding. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us, and we can fill in any more information you want. Thanks a lot, guys. As always, best of luck to you. Best of luck to your young athlete. And, hey, let's keep them in the game. Bye.